Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I tell you, we're going to have a very informative show today. So I'm glad you're here to hang out with us. We're going to be talking about trading, the stock market. We've had a couple of shows on this, and we're going to continue to have a couple of more. So I'm excited about definitely having my guest on the show today. First time here too, by the way. So let me get going here. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. The reason why I talk about Dr. Hunt is because I want you to have a mentor. I want you to consider getting someone that can help you when you have times in your life that you need somebody to go to. So mentors are excellent. So that's why I talk about my mentor so much all the time, because I want to encourage you to get a mentor, and then you'll have somebody to shout out when you get your show. So shout out to my mentor, and I want to encourage you to get one for you to shout out. All right. I want to give a shout out to our guest one of our guests in the chat room today, Miss Yvonne. She's been a guest on the show too. So shout out to Miss Yvonne. She's giving us a shout out early today. All right. I want to invite you guys to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, I want you to notice that when we go live, you can see the live show directly from the website. We have it set up now where you can just look at the countdown. When the countdown hits 0, hit the button, boom, and you're right there in the show. Also, while you're there, you can check out all of our advertisers. Our advertisers help make it possible for us to do what we do here. I've got a few of them listed right here. RRJ Web. If you have a website that is broken and it needs to be fixed, or if you want to create a website, RRJ Web can help you put your website together. Sir Synergy. If you are interested in green energy, solar panels, all the things that can help save you money in the traditional energy marketplace, definitely check out Sir Synergy. Port Again Sam. Port Again Sam brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. I tell you, if you don't know how good Sam's wine can be, you need to definitely go sit down with him, get a wine tasting, and check out one of your new favorite wine, one of his specialties that he has in stock. All right. And last but not least, Prince Hunter Financial Group. If you're interested in understanding the stock market and how it works and how you can make money in the stock market, definitely reach out to Prince Hunter Financial Group. He is offering 4 free classes to anyone that mentions this show. Say you heard about it here on the Dr. Ron Show. You can get your 4 free classes, okay? And you want your 4 free classes because that's going to help you get started in understanding what the stock market is all about. Well, speaking of the stock market, my guest today has been a student of the Prince Hunter Financial Group. And he has got some stories to tell us, and I'm sure we're going to get into the conversation about where he's at in his journey. But the first thing I want to do is welcome him to the show. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Dr. Ron? Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. It is it is a pleasure. I'm laughing because Yvonne is messing with me on the chat. Um, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, why don't you tell the people about yourself a little bit? What's your background? What do you do?
Well, I'm actually a career changer. I started out as a truck driver. I did that for about 15 years. Left from that and got into teaching. So I've been teaching on the high school level and teaching for about 10 years now. And then actually, doing some teaching and trading.
Okay.
Yep.
So you said teaching. You
Hmm.
went from truck driving to teaching. You went
Yes.
from a career being all by yourself to being bothered with somebody else's kids. I,
Yeah.
that's a big change, bro.
Yeah. Well, I figured I had to do something with my brains instead of my brawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Were you driving your own truck or were you with a company or?
I started out with a company and then I eventually branched off and then I got my own truck and got a contract with Office Depot and Sears, began running some loads for them. Then ended up spawning that into another truck and leased that truck, had my own, and went through the gamut with that. And then eventually spun back into me. I actually got hurt, and so that spun into me actually kind of liquidating everything and then going into actual teaching.
Okay. All right. So I've done a little truck driving myself. You get a chance to go all across the country, and you get a chance to go places and see things and experience people in various parts of the country. So I know that can be a very interesting career. Um, and then too, I know some people say it can be a very lonely life, but I get along with myself, so I didn't have no problem with it. So it was cool with me.
Hmm.
So you decided to go from that into teaching.
Yes, sir.
So you went back to school and decided to, you know,
Yeah, it was actually a passion that I had through coaching because I've also been a
okay,
basketball coach for over 20 years. And so as I was doing that in truck driving, I was always coming from the outside. And so they began to say on the inside, well, why don't you just become a teacher? And it never really clicked to me until I got hurt. And so I figured, hey, let me go into teaching, go back, get my degree, finish everything up, and then go into the field. But when I started doing that, it was actually at the time when they were laying a lot of teachers off. So I was kind of skeptical about actually doing that. But I went on and did it by faith, and it worked out for me.
okay. All right. So what kind of coach were you?
Yeah, I was a basketball coach on both grammar school and high school level.
Okay. All right. Any championships under your belt?
I won a few tournaments.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you used to being a champion and winning.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. And how long you been in the classroom now?
Been in class for about 10 years now.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
that's good. And then you're a family man.
Yes, sir.
Big family, little family.
Yes, sir. Well, my mom was the youngest of 13.
Okay.
So,
So you got 14.
no, no, no. No, 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 I didn't go that route. But no, I used to tease my wife and tell her I wanted to try it, but
Okay.
no,
Uh, so you're not like Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson, you're not trying to build a band, huh?
no, sir, no, sir. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, we thank God for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about your background so people don't understand, they're just tuning in, that you would consider yourself kind of an average career person.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, you didn't come from a well-to-do, hedge fund family.
Not at all. Not
And
at
and
all.
nobody in your family was sitting up there saying, "We're gonna pass down all this money to you," like the Trumps did. Pass
No.
down all this money to you. So all you got to do is figure out a way to keep it, huh?
Look, I remember those books that had the purple and green and the different colors in them. When we go to the store, you have to pay taxes using them. I was I was from the food stamp generation.
Yeah, most young people don't know what food stamps are.
Yeah.
You know, they know about that little plastic card. You know, they
Yep.
don't know about food stamps. They actually used to have paper stamps. They used to
Hmm.
come in books. You
Mm.
know, that's a throwback
Yeah.
Tuesday information to what used to happen.
Yep.
You know, and then it evolved to a little plastic card. So
Yep. Yes, sir.
that was way back in the day there.
Mm.
So would you consider at the time you were truck driving and went back to school and started teaching and coaching that you could see yourself dealing with the stock market?
At that time, no. But I began to, throughout that course, it was a journey. Sometimes I look back on it, I think about the education, I think about the money I spent, I think about the student loans, and I started to realize, like, man, did I spend all that money? Did it go to waste? But it was also a part of my journey. It would have introduced me to Norman. It never would have introduced me to the various ones that helped me to get to where I am today. And that's where I kind of credit and I thank God for the journey. But again, no, I didn't envision it at first, but it was introduced to me through that journey. So I appreciate that part of it.
Okay. So how do you feel about the market now? How long have you been in the market?
I've been in the market, off and on, live, off and on, for about 5 years. Since about
5 years.
December of 2017.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a professional or amateur, expert?
Well, I would say amateur going on professional. There's still a lot more to learn. But I'm learning to master. It's not so much about mastering the market for me. It's more about mastering myself.
Okay.
Yes, and my experience with the market has taught me more about myself, than anything.
Okay. All right. So, since you've been exposed to it, would you say you put a lot of time into studying this to understand how the market works and how it flows and what it can do for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm learning to put more time into it actually, and it's not a chore, for me because it's something that I find to be, very fulfilling. So as
Okay.
I'm learning about myself, I'm giving more time to research and understanding the various nuances of the market, and then beginning to explore what all those things can do for my benefit. Because I believe it's definitely a way that almost anybody can use to create a supplemental income, or it can be a side hustle, it can be whatever they want it to be. If you're willing to put the time and dedication in.
Okay. So, out of the 5 years you said,
Yeah.
okay, out of the 5 years, when would you say you would be at a point where you can count on it, like you say, as a side hustle? Like right now, in the future, because you say you give yourself um, a basic level,
Mm-hmm.
going on expert. You said. So
Mm-hmm.
what would you say you would be, as far as the making money part of it?
Oh well, I mean, at this point, I already make money. It's just,
Okay.
you know, whether it's Happy Meal money, oatmeal money, as Norman would say, and oatmeal beats no meal. So for me, you can make some money in it, but where it's replacing my income, that's what I'm trying to get to. And at that
Okay.
point, in my mind, I said I was gonna give myself that 3 to 5 year, 7 year span, to see where it would actually take me. And right now, I'm on track to be where I'm supposed to be.
Okay. So you're doing pretty good with it.
I'm doing okay.
You're
I
doing
want to
okay.
go back. Again, I've been talking back and forth with Norman, as we've been talking. And again, just learning more about the things. He's helped enhance what I already know and start putting the pieces together like a puzzle. When I first began out on my journey, a lot of people were giving you strategies and this little piece and that little piece, but it never really clicked and was put together for me. And now when Norman came in, he helped me to find out what I wanted to do and shape and formulate that into what's going to work for me. And so I've been instituting some of those things, and again, ready to start going back live again, and making even more money.
Okay. So shout out to Norman. He's been on the show before. He is the person that we talk about that teaches the classes, and it can help you understand the market. So now I'm understanding. So you were involved in trading before and then ran into Norman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what were you doing before?
Well, when I first got introduced, there was a friend of mine that worked on one of the jobs that was a teacher with me, and he had got into a program, and that program had one component of it was actually trading, then the other component was kind of recruiting. And so I got involved and started making those monthly payments, as most of those programs are built to do.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
as I was making those payments, what caught my attention was that they put more emphasis on the recruiting than they did the actual teaching of strategies and things of that nature. That was kind of left up to you, even though you could interact, with some of the guys that were actually doing it, but it wasn't as much as I wanted. And so when I began to see, how most of the money was generated, I wanted to learn how to fish. And so I wanted to learn how to fish to the point where I actually left the program alone. I left that individual alone, as far as that was concerned, and then began to explore it on my own.
Yeah, so you had picked up a whole lot of bad habits. I bet you was trading Forex too, wasn't
I was. And see,
you? I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail on that one, but
yes, I was.
yeah, and I guess those organizations and those programs they serve a purpose, and some of them have an educational component to it, but the educational component it doesn't help you. It doesn't really begin to point you in the knowledge that you need to be able to be a trader.
Right.
And most of those programs, and I'm really gonna get a lot of hate mail. They're designed for you to copycat. Just
Right.
do this and do that, follow this instruction,
Yeah.
and then hopefully you'll be successful.
Hmm.
Now, I've had some experience in those areas. That's why I can bash them a little bit. It was so funny. I would be sitting in those Zoom meetings or whatever kind of meetings they said. Well, they said, this your entry. This is, go now. By the time I would get in, the move was over with, and then I started losing money.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
So I'm like, what just happened here? They told me to go on this number,
Yep.
and then I got in, and then the number went the other way,
Yep.
and now I'm sitting here on zero and below, and then I'm like, dang, what happened?
Yep.
So it's a source of frustration when you're dealing with people that's not really educating you; they're just showing you stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said a minute ago, teaching you how to fish. Everybody want to eat,
Absolutely.
but trying to understand how to get to that point where you got something to eat is just as important. And see, I've been involved with Norman for a while now, and my problem is I overthink everything. Yeah, he'll tell me that in a heartbeat, as well as Miss Gray, who's in the comments as well. She was another one that said, "You're overthinking. Just take the trade." And I'll be like, "No, I want to know why. How did this work?" Because I want to make sure that I can duplicate it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that being a trader, you want to be able to duplicate your efforts and energy time and time again and get the same favorable results. Now, sometimes you can duplicate it and you'll lose in the process. So, but you still want to be able to know, okay, well, this one didn't go that way, but 9 out of 10 times it does. So that's one of the things. So, what else would you say was your takeaway from dealing with the Forex market, if any?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a bad experience with the Forex market. Actually, when I got in and I was working with a particular broker, I mean, I was making 10, 20 cent a trade. And I would go back, and tell my wife, well, I made 10 cents. And she was like, okay. Like, okay, come back to me when those are dollars. It was exciting to me. I'm like, hey, I pulled something out of the markets. So but that experience again, it was me doing things I did not have the how to, like you were talking about. I wasn't sure on the how to. I did have a strategy here or there. I didn't understand probabilities. I didn't know exactly what I was looking at, but I was beginning to piece things together. So I would start listening to different people. And then listening to people, I started to put things together. But it didn't stop me from losing money either.
I know that's right, brother. Woo! Ain't that the best teacher?
Yep.
Woo, man. So in the beginning, because we're going to talk about just the beginning part now, how much did you say that you actually lost?
Uh, I would say maybe 1,000 or so. I didn't get up there real big because I was still, I might put like 500 in here or there, and then play around with it and see what I could do. But no, I didn't get. I don't think I got to where you may have been. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. I bought off a big chunk of the elephant. I heard it saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
yeah,
I took a big chunk. I had a big chunk.
yeah.
And choked on it.
Hmm.
Because it didn't do nothing that I thought it was gonna do.
Yeah, but see, if I couple that with the money I spent for the program, and that's the other side of it. So when you spending $125 a month, that all adds up. Plus the money you put into the account. And then the money when you take the trade, the slippage, and all the things that come involved with it. And I'm like, man, if I'd have only been with the person that I knew was going to actually sit with me through this and show me exactly how to do it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that when you were doing it by yourself, you took a lot of whoopings.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I know that feeling. I got lumps on my head still from doing stuff that I didn't know what I was doing. But then you don't know. But
Hmm.
like they say, ignorance is no excuse,
Hmm.
especially when you're spending your money.
Yeah.
You wanna eliminate some of those lumps.
Yes.
So let's fast forward a little bit.
Hmm.
So you've had an experience. You knew that there was a forex market out there. Did you have any experience looking at the stock market at that time, or just strictly forex?
Yeah, it was strictly Forex at that time. And then
Yeah,
as I began to mature a little bit more, I began to see there was another side.
right.
So,
And the reason why I asked that question because you had a very similar background to what I had. I was dealing with nothing but forex because everybody told me that's where the money was at. And then I ran into Norman, and he started laughing at me. He said, okay, forex, right? Yeah.
mm,
He said, well, what about the stock market? I said, no, 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 no. I can't mess with the stock market. I don't know nothing about the stock market. I don't want to mess with the stock market. And then he said, okay. And then he began to gradually enlighten me, to understand what the stock market that I was afraid of was not something that I should fear,
absolutely.
And then, I don't know, how was it for you?
Yeah, I was already comfortable, hitting the buy and sell button. So that wasn't a problem for me, again. But when I came in contact with Norman, I think you kind of hit on it earlier. There were so many things that I knew and I thought I knew, and then trying to ease away from Forex to a degree and start to embrace, what the stock market could do for me, and so I gradually eased into that. I began to work with another group. They were into the stock market and I kind of played both sides with that. But then now, when I got introduced with Norman and me and him began working together, it was strictly stock market, and I did some forex every now and then. I still kind of dabble in it, but not so much as I do with the stock market.
Well, from what I understand, the strategies will work for anything, whether it's forex or stock market. The strategies are the strategies.
Mm.
So are you profiting from dealing with forex as much?
Uh, not as much. No, not as much. Because I don't do it as often, and then I'm working too, so I'm still trying to figure out the times to actually do that. Even though I know there are various markets that open at 3 in the morning. London and Asian market. But again, my time is such to where that's been the thing. Me and Norman been working on catering strategies to my time so that I can still be profitable and getting trades and not have to look at it every 3 minutes or every 5 minutes. So those are things that me and him are working on so that I can continue to do it. And then as a teacher, we off in the summers, and the big thing with that is, you don't get paid in the summer unless
Mm-hmm.
you get your check split up, which I try to do. But again, you need some income coming in, and the way teaching is going now, you got to find a way. With inflation and all the things that we're dealing with, man, you got to find another way to bring in some extra money.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that educators make good students for the market?
Oh, they could. I believe anybody with an open mind would be a good student. I know there's a 90+% failure rate, but that all depends on your mentor, your teacher. And a lot of times you get hooked up because you see people on YouTube standing in front of this house, they're in front of this nice Lamborghini car that they just rented from Enterprise. Then they go out to one of these neighborhoods and sit in front of a $1 million house, shoot a video, and come back and say they traders. And then you get
Mm-hmm.
involved with them thinking they're gonna teach you something. And you got
No.
to find somebody that's actually going to take the time out to teach you so you can be profitable.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that. Um, you know, Norman has a saying that I think is quite humorous. He said everybody, wants to be in the fight until they get hit in the mouth.
Hmm.
After
Yeah.
you get hit in the mouth, then you don't want to fight no more.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So and he is a very um, knowledgeable instructor. He's the type of person that can sit down with you and find, your niche.
Hmm.
And that's excellent in an instructor,
Hmm.
because if it's something that's totally new for you or something that you have a background in, see, like I came to him, with bad habits.
Hmm.
I was scared, and fear is not something you need to be, when you're trying to get into the market, because I was scared all the time. I don't want to lose no money. I don't care if it's real money or fake money. I don't want to lose,
Hmm.
because I know the feeling, what it felt like, and having, a very bad feeling of losing, money, and
Yeah.
that be traumatized, like, I feel lose some money.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing,
Hmm.
but when you have a very patient person that's working with you, then he can help you overcome your fear and be able to show you some successes that
Hmm.
will give you, confidence and courage, with
Hmm.
doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So, so, um, so with you not having a lot of time, I guess it's kind of key to emphasize the fact that you specialize in more long term trades. So you might get in a trade at the first of the month, and then check on it a month later or 2 months later to see if it's still going your way or not. Is that something that you would see yourself as, or is that what you do now?
I've been trying to actually focus on more weekly type trades. Especially with the options and various things like that, to where you can take an option for a weekly, and then you can ride that option from Monday to Friday. So that's where I've been trying to kind of specialize. And then when I do have days off that the market is open, I will go in and take some day trades when they're available.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you do a little bit of all of it then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well that's good. So what would you say are some of the highlights of what you've learned comparatively from since you started to where you are now? What are some of the things that you can highlight?
Uh, I would say discipline number one. You got to have the discipline. You got to be disciplined. The market is going to teach you about yourself. And, my philosophy is that even the lessons, the losses can teach you a lesson. So I'll go back and look and backtrack and say, well, this is where I lost. And then I'll take that loss and look at what I may have done wrong, may have done right, and I'll take a lesson from it. You know, Being disciplined is one of those things that have been a key component to me being able to advance to where I am. And then having a mentality where I'm not going to give up. This is what I'm going to become. I am going to become a master trader. That's just it. I was with a guy, and I'll tell you this quick story before I get to the other point, but I met a guy when I went to the money show. I don't know if you've ever been there. But I went to the money show, and the money show is a spot. They go all around the country. Sometimes they've been in Chicago. When they came to Chicago, it is a group of traders and investors, and they come together. And at the money show, I was introduced sitting in that room with all these individuals that could actually trade. And they were talking about trading and business strategies and investing strategies. And man, a whole nother world opened up to me like, this is where I belong. I was just comfortable in the setting. Like, this is where I belong. And I met an individual who was another trader. And that individual, he invited me to come down to Atlanta with him. And so I took him up on it for 2 weeks. Went down there for 2 weeks, and I got to see him trade live from his house on his platform live for 2 weeks straight. And he began to show me his strategies and show me some things he was doing. And he said, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to ask yourself why you was never doing this all the rest of your life. And I started thinking, man, I'm like, one day I'm going to wake up and this is all I'm going to want to do. And I realize it more now. Man, this is what I want to do. This is where my heart and passion is. When I wake up, I'm getting up thinking about the market. That's after prayer. But I'm thinking about the market. I'm thinking about what's going on. On the weekends, I'm thinking about what's going on. How can I, gain an advantage here or there? And so I went from that, and then I began the discipline part of it, the structure of my day, and being able to do certain things to understanding risk management. Because you talked about losing money, and I don't like losing money either. But you got to understand.
Look, you need therapy after you lose money, boy.
Yeah. And so, I heard individuals saying, hey, never put in what you can't afford to lose, And so I began to learn risk management, the discipline, and learning how to listen, being humble enough to say, I don't know everything, and that's where Norman and different other people I began to, invite in that were real traders, was to be able to listen. Listen and execute. Even as a teacher, I've got students right now. I could tell them walking through it and then walk away and they still won't do what I just asked them to do. Because they're not really listening. They hear me, but they're not really listening. And so getting over the fear of hitting that buy and sell button, being more disciplined about what types of trades I want, what strategy I'm trying to implement, getting in there and looking at, what's going on in the market, and understanding risk management. Those have been the keys to me so far.
Great. That's a great story. It's funny. Like I said, when you need therapy, when you lose, I was having a real bad day. Oh my God. It was horrible. I mean, everything I did turned bad. So, Norman and I usually would talk on the day that I would trade, and I'd call him up and say, hey, man, what do you do when you have a bad day, and the trade's just not going your way? He said, take another trade. I was like, what? I don't even want to see another trade. I'm going in the kitchen and go get me some biscuits and gravy or something.
Right.
I'm not trying to see another trade. He said, but you can't quit. He said, because just like it went against you, and it didn't go good on that particular scenario.
Right.
The next one could go for you, and then the next one, you can get a series of good ones. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's one of those things where you can work your way out of the hole
Yes.
just as fast as you got yourself in the hole.
Yes.
So I was like, man, I don't even want to talk to you no more. And it was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some of these people that are tuned in. Shout out to Connie Griffin. We know Miss Gray is on the line. Connie Griffin has made a couple of comments. The last one, it says, I've had those too, Dr. Ron, talking about those bad days where you lose money. Let's see who else we got here. I'm not seeing anybody with any questions. They're just more or less laughing and cracking up because this thing hurts. Okay. One thing about trading, I got to emphasize this: trading hurts. Okay. It's just like a series of emotions that you have, that gratification. Some things make you feel good, and then you run across a series of things in life that make you hurt. Losing money can make you hurt.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but then you get over the hurt. When you have some situations where it turns kind of good for you, like, oh, okay, I ain't hurting as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when you start seeing that them dollars going up in your account, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But the hurt is just as much a part as the feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna tell you another story that Norman gave me one time. Norman's full of stories, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get in his class. If you ain't in his class, he'll tell y'all stories too. But you got to get in his class
Yep.
and then begin to understand that some of this stuff makes sense. So like, I'm not a person that enjoys going to the casino. You know how some people, they say, "Oh, it's fun," and then they lose their whole check,
Yeah.
and they're trying to, flip it or turn it over or whatever. Casinos are designed to take your money.
Mm-hmm.
But Norman's story about the casino was in relationship to understanding that everything is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the chance, yes, you have the possibility of winning. But then there's always the possibility of losing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an equal, opportunity when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
But when you understand that, everybody's not going to win,
It's true.
especially at this thing called the stock market. Everybody's not going to win. I know we've all heard horror stories about floor traders that have jumped off buildings because they lost their whole, life existence in a bad day. But that's not everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't take that much of a risk
Mm-hmm.
where their whole life would be like, okay, it's over. I'm gonna jump off this building. Because first of all, you need to understand, like you said a little while ago, risk management. What can you afford to risk in order to gain?
Mm-hmm.
And then you understand that, and you begin to work from that perspective. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, so what has been your Norman story? I know you got one.
Me and Norman has shared many stories, of course, as you already know. And I'm gonna say this up front: if you have not contacted Prince Hunter, contact Prince Hunter. Again, he's a reputable man. He does what he say he gonna do. He'll help you get to where you're trying to go. I wanted to say this because you said something about hurting, and I would call Norman. Here's my story. I would call Norman sometimes while I'm at work teaching on my break or something in between the class on lunch. And I called him one day and he really didn't say much to me. I just wanted to express myself. I told him I was hurting because I knew the market was open and I'm sitting at somebody's job working. And I was not able to trade.
That's enough to make you hurt.
And that was the thing to me because I would call him every so often and tell him that because he knows my desire is to be a trader, period. Nothing else, that's it. And so I called him one day and he couldn't do nothing but empathize with me. He understood, where I was going. So he always calls to encourage me, man, just keep at it, keep going. I don't want you to get discouraged, which I'm not, but he's just that type of person. And for anybody listening, he's the type of individual that will keep up. If he sees you interested and you're really willing to put the time and the effort in, he'll work with you. That's the one thing I can say about him. He's never been discouraged and always encouraging, and trying to empower us to be more than what we think we can be.
Absolutely.
And that's what I know about him.
Absolutely. And one of the good things about having somebody that's been there, done, he's got the years in the game.
Yeah.
And it's not many people that you can call brother or friend and say, hey, I know he knows what he knows.
Yep.
The proof is in the pudding. When he sits down with you and he shows you some things, now he can get pretty short-tempered with you. Because I can remember several mornings, with one eye open and one eye closed, trying to see what's going on. Just pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger. You ain't got to figure it out. Just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but wait a minute. I got to go through my routine. I got to go do the little war dance and stuff, shake the beads or whatever I got to do in order to get the confidence up. Okay, now I pull the trigger. Boy, just pull the trigger.
Yep.
Pull the trigger. And I said, how'd you know that? He said, I just pull it.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, it works out. And you be like, boy, this rascal got something else over here that he ain't telling me about.
Yeah.
That I need to know.
Yep.
And then he don't tell you everything. He'll slide something on you a little bit at a time. Because, I'm sure he got like 5 computers in front of him at one time.
Yeah.
He can see everything going on in 20 time zones and everything else, But that's being a master trader with the knowledge and a master teacher to be able to tell you. Because I asked him, like, how did you know that was the right time to pull the trigger?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he give me some old, Lucky Charm story, like, oh yeah, I know because I know that I know, but but it's still a positive experience.
Absolutely.
And like he has, coined me on many occasions, I overthink things.
Yeah.
Because if I'm looking at it, and this is something that he has taught me to do. Take a look at everything. Mm-hmm. Look at the big picture. Look at all 3 time zones that are on the screen. Mm-hmm. If you got more time screens, look at all of them. Well, sometimes you don't have time to go to all of that before you pull the trigger. You just got to pull the trigger expecting it to do what it's supposed to do. And most of the time, he's right. I have to give him that credit. Let's see. Connie said, same experience with Norman, so encouraging. Yes, Lord. Sounds familiar. I think a lot of the traders that are in the comments section, for those that can see the comments section, they are people that have had experiences with Norman. And I'm going to dare to say most of them are positive. Mm-hmm. I know he kind of ignorant when it comes to dealing with brothers. I don't know about you, but he kind of ignorant with me. He can holler at me, scream at me like, I'm like, come on, man, calm down. But I'm sure he's much more finesse and more cuddly with the women than he would be with, I don't know about you. Is he rough with you?
No, not really. I mean, he gets on me about just, making sure that I, learn the platform. I will say this. If you work with him, learn your platform. Know the platform. So that way you're not working with, You don't have to waste a whole lot of time. But it's an indication also of whether or not you're doing the work, because you want to know how to use whatever you're using. So whether that's TradeStation or that's TD Ameritrade or Webull or whatever it is, learn it. Learn that platform so that way you can execute when you need to execute. And that's one of the things that I've taken from him. And then, going back to what you were saying earlier, I called him. I might have been gone about 2-3 months, Dr. Ron, and I called him back, man. And this man, I got a notebook here. This is my notebook with Norman that I've had since I started with him in August of 2021. And he come, man, he got 5 or 6 more strategies on top of the strategies. I'm like, where you get all this stuff from? So he been holding back. I'm like, man, but it took me a while to get what he gave me. And then once I got that, he gave me a little bit more. And then there were some things I kind of had to unlearn, like you were talking about earlier, unlearn, because you're looking at these YouTubers and various other ones, and you're thinking about all the things they told you. This supposed to happen. This crossover that, this do that, and you got to get that stuff out of your head and focus on what's in front of you with the strategies you've already learned. So I'm unlearning some things and learning some things. So,
Absolutely.
But yeah, he had 3 or 4 more to throw at me. And I'm quite sure when I call him again, he probably got 3 or 4 more other things that he needs to show me as well.
Absolutely. I'm sitting here looking at the women's comments in the section here. He said he don't discriminate. Nope, he do not have. Let's see. I just take the roughness, and females not exempt. Norman don't care about your gender. So he rough on the women too, But it's for a benefit. And I think we all would agree 110% that when you take away something out of the conversation each and every time, when he trades with you and he's coaching you and he's working with you, you take away something each and every time.
Yes, sir.
I can't emphasize it enough. And I'm like you. I had a journal that I had started, about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was crazy because I was making printing out charts, everything, trying to keep up with everything that was going on. And recently, he was working with me, and he said, "Man, I don't want to hear about that. Leave that alone. Get over here and do what I'm telling you to do right now. You ain't got to print out no more charts until I tell you to. Just get over here and do this." And I was like, wow. Yeah. Okay, so everything I knew before, throw it out the window. Let's go. And that's basically what he did, and it worked out.
Oh yeah.
I kid you not, it worked out. Because I guess he knows when it's time to take you to that next level.
Yeah.
And I still write stuff in my book because I'm kind of old, and I can't remember stuff from yesterday to the next day.
Yeah.
So I have to write it down, and then I got notes and stickums all over my house and everywhere, on the wall, on the computer, on the monitor, everywhere.
Yeah.
Because something that he will have said that I will need to recall.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. What would you think would be a good type of person to get into trading? Let's ask that question.
I would say the person that is humble enough to realize that they need something else, and that's willing to listen and put aside their ego, their pride, all this other stuff, and say, I know I need this. I'm willing to go all in at it. Somebody that's going to be dedicated, that's just willing to listen. Anybody can do this. I'll restate that. I know I said it earlier, but anybody can do this if you're willing to be dedicated, listen, and just be disciplined. That's really what it's about. What I found to be true in working with Norman. It's just the amount of time you're willing to dedicate to it and be disciplined. But yeah, that's what I would say would be the key.
Mm-hmm. So would you say an educator or a laborer or anybody with a particular type of background would be fit or cut out for this type of adventure?
Anybody, teacher,
Anybody?
laborer, it doesn't matter, attorney, doctor, it doesn't matter what background you come from. Again, that's that ego part, because you don't want to, you start ego tripping going into it thinking you know so much, and when you realize you don't know anything, and you humble enough to accept that, you can learn. But for most people, they come in with their cup already full and they got to empty it out. Empty your cup
Mm-hmm.
and then come and you can learn. Norman's more than willing to teach. I found that to be true. Time and time again, he's willing to teach. He just pours his heart out, man. Sometimes I'm on the phone, and before we know it, it's 2 hours going by.
Right.
I'll
Absolutely.
tell my wife, hey, I'm about to call Norman, and then it's like, oh man, it's 9, 10 o'clock already. We done went through this strategy, talked about that, and got into the various talks and everything. That's how much he's willing to give himself if you invest the time.
Right.
And when he realizes that, it doesn't matter what background you come from, but he's sure to tell you, when you get involved with him, if you got an ego or pride, or if you're overconfident, he'll tell you. You know.
Oh yeah, he definitely gonna let you know where you at.
Mhm.
And he'll let you bump your head.
Yeah.
Something we said early on about losing money. It was so funny. It was hilarious. A couple of years ago, when I started working with Norman, and he had me with my journal and stuff. Write your rules down and begin to create your rules for yourself and what's good for you. And it took me about maybe 3 months at the most to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
I blew my account up so bad.
Mm.
I mean, blew it up.
Mm.
Now, granted, it was a practice account,
Yeah.
but he's like, oh, you did pretty good. You went 3 months. It's like he was, waiting. He was just waiting.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a video.
Yeah.
It's like I got a video for some like 1932 video, some old white guy standing up there with a chalkboard
Yeah.
talking about all traders blow up their account within the first, month.
Yeah.
Or something like that was my takeaway from the video, and it might be a little bit longer than that. But
Mm.
he said, all traders. He said whether you're professional or anything, you're gonna blow up your account within the first month or two. Okay,
Mm.
I made it to 3,
Okay.
and then he just like, not bad. And then me, I was so frustrated. I reset my account.
Mm.
They're like, why you do that? I wanted you to work your way out the hole. You
Yeah.
went down, you supposed to come out. I was like,
Right.
oh, see, you didn't tell me that part.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff, and
Absolutely.
and it's people that have gone before us, that have been in this floor trading and now, trading online, and it's easier online than having to be on the floor, trying to fight with 100 people trying to get a trade.
Yep.
Now you can just push a button, like you said, buy or sell and get involved in the trade and just pay the broker fee.
Mm.
And that's how advanced technology has brought this. And I'm gonna piggyback off of what Norman has said to you and ask you this question: how long you gonna be school teaching again?
Not long. Not long. Not long. I
You
mean,
know,
honestly, I give myself a couple more years, doing it, and it's because I love, serving the children and doing what I do. The difference is that I want to do it because I want to do it, not because I have to do it. And that's what I want to be in it for. So trading is what I want to do, but I want to. If I decide to teach and go a little further, it's only because I have to. I mean, I want to, not because I have to.
okay.
You know.
So anybody that might be listening to this show that has not pulled the trigger yet to work with Norman, because we don't know who all's listening. What would you say to them? What would you say to encourage them to want to get with Norman and to get into this trading?
Well, my dad used to tell me not be the failure, but a try. You know, try it, experience it. You know, somebody out there's probably been listening and trying to dibble and dabble again, like I was on their own. You need a mentor. Most of us need a mentor. You need somebody that's gonna hold you accountable, somebody that's gonna kind of hold your hand, that's gonna be able to locate where you are and help you go where you're trying to go. You know, a lot of times I was trying to do it on my own and realized, hey, I needed somebody. You know, and again, Norman became that person, for me to hold me accountable, to teach me some of the nuances. And so I'm still with him, even to this day. But somebody that's listening brand new, most times it's trying to find somebody they can trust, find somebody that's going to be able to work with them. Norman's that type of individual. The individuals I was working with before in the programs, not to say they weren't, but I couldn't call them up like I can call Norman. I couldn't get in contact and reach them. I couldn't see them like I see you now. Most times, it was something you had to log on at 10, you're done by 10:30. You got to set a schedule and do all these things. And again, that's great. But again, for those that are out there that are interested and need a little extra income, trading is a way to do that. Prince Hunter is a mentor, a friend, a brother, somebody that's going to be there with you in the long run when things are hard, when things are good. He going to keep you level headed, and help you get to where you're trying to go.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Now, we've got a compliment for you that just came in. Miss Connie said, Kevin, thank you for your service with the kids. We need good teachers. And I added the we in there because I echo that,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Everybody doesn't have the patience to deal with children. So, and teachers are quitting. Teachers are getting out of the game. They're like, okay, you send all these baby kids in here for me to deal with. I quit. And some kids are just not able to. You're not able to help them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I said it. I've been in that industry too, so I know I quit. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. Good luck, y'all.
Yeah.
Because they'll make you feel that way.
Well,
But
they tease me, Dr. Ron.
where they
So
tease you.
when I was truck driving, my hair was black. Not the third grade.
Oh, look, I understand. Okay, look, I totally understand.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
look, man, it's an hour has passed, and as always, I have two questions that I like to ask my guests before the show ends. The first question is, will you come back and see me again?
Good. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me know after you didn't get to that point where you don't have to accept your check at work anymore. You got enough money coming in from trading where you can say, I did this, this, and this, and now I don't need the money. I can just go in here and help the kids.
Hey,
You know. So, and my second question that I always like to ask people, what would you like to leave with the people before you leave today?
well, first of all, thank God for my journey and for being here and for the opportunity. And then second of all, never give up. Never give up. The best investment you could ever make is in yourself. And that's been a rule of mine, and that's what I believe. Invest in yourself. Trading is a way to invest in yourself. You'll go and tell a doctor all your personal business with a white coat, you don't know him from Adam. You'll go and tell a teller what's in your bank account. All you see is their ID with their first name. You don't know anything about them. You'll go and tell a broker, hey, put this money on this, Fidelity or whoever. Why not invest in yourself? Believe in yourself, invest in yourself. That's the best investment you can make.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I want to thank you. I applaud you for doing, the show. I know this is your first time being here, and we got it on tape that you'll come back and see me again. So that's a beautiful thing. And to you and your family, man, I wish you much success in all the endeavors that you get involved in. And I would totally understand if you go back to truck driving. on that day when them kids ain't got the best of you, and you still need a few more dollars for that trade account, I can understand if you
Yes.
get back in the truck drive. I just want you to know that. I appreciate it. I appreciate truck drivers too, okay?
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate them all.
Yes, sir.
But thank you, man. I appreciate it. I hope you had a good time.
Yes, sir.
I want you to stay right there while I end the show. And thank you again. I can't thank you enough.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, sir. Saturday at 12 noon from the desk of Dr. Ron. I always have a great commentary, great something of information that I can offer you. Check me out right here on YouTube, and you can also go over to my website and check me out live over there. I want to thank everybody that have made donations and contributions. Without you, I cannot do what I do. I appreciate you. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Please subscribe, like, and share. Please take this and send it out to somebody. This information will be invaluable to somebody that's on the fence, trying to decide whether or not to get involved with trading. So please send it out to somebody and let them get positive information that can help them get involved with Prince Hunter Financial Group. So see you guys tomorrow. You all be safe. Stay encouraged. See you guys tomorrow.